Okay, ladies and dudes, back with another video. Alright, so if you guys haven't noticed, I got a new microphone. I've actually owned this microphone before, but I am recently I'm gonna get it again. I am in the middle of using someone else's, but I'm gonna buy my own. It's a Blue Yeti. So, it's good. I hope you guys like it. Anyways, so we actually only have about 7 types to go. We have ENFP, INFP, ESTP, ENTP, ESFP, INFJ, and INTP. Those are the 7 types we have left, so that's only 3 videos because I'll do 3 in this one, 3 in the next one, and then on the last type, whatever remains, I will actually make an entire video for. So, I guess that type got lucky. So I guess let's jump into it. Got my magnets. Hopefully I don't miss. I actually did a couple takes of this video only because I kept screwing up on certain days, and one day it was humid as hell, so I was just all sweaty and it was just inappropriate. Okay. ESFP, ESTP, INTP. Okay, so what was first? ESFP was first. 1 second. ESFPs. They are the life of the party. ESFPs have dominant, sensing, extroverted, which means that they work by the senses, as well as an ESTP, which is also SE dominant. ESFPs are SE dominant, so they work very well and they're very in tune with their 5, senses. So when an ESFP walks into a room, they scan the room unconsciously. They just scan the room, and it comes very natural for them to just know their surroundings because they walk into a room and immediately are picking up where everything is and how to work their environment for the best results. ESFPs are very fun-loving people. They're very carefree in certain aspects, and they know how to have a good time. For some people, they might be too much, too outgoing for some more introverted types. I happen to enjoy the company of ESFPs for the most part, I guess. I mean, a lot of ESFPs like certain hobbies that I wouldn't prefer as much as other ones, but for the most part I like ESFPs. Very nice people. Okay, so what else about ESFPs? Here, I'll tell you some ESFP celebrities. I actually know for a fact Will Smith is an ESFP. Yep, Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Pink, Nicki Minaj, Katy Perry, Leonardo DiCaprio, beast actor, Justin Bieber's an ESFP, Harry Styles, Ringo Starr, Cameron Diaz, Miley Cyrus, and Beyonce, Mel Gibson, Quentin Tarantino, one of the best directors out there, Steven Spielberg. So, obviously, you can see different types of ESFPs. Not yet, every type differs completely within their own experiences. So many types of the same type, many people of the same type can actually be very different, but it's the way that they use their functions that determines their type. So SE dominant people like ESFPs and ESTPs will like environments that are very engaging to them. I can picture a meme right now of an ESTP on a commercial, let's say on a desk job, just, oh my god, another day at work, very bored, not interested at all, just. And then in the same video, I can see an INTP or an ENTP who's a very nerdy type or whatever, or actually any really TI user can actually have the rush that they're looking for in any environment, because they're looking for a mental challenge, while ESTPs or ESFPs are looking for a more, I want to say physical challenge, but I just want to say physically engaging, while INTPs and ENTPs are looking for mentally engaging activities. So ESFPs are, and I didn't finish the video, and I can see the same INTP or ENTP in the video. Instead of looking very bored like the ESFP, they will be very enthusiastic, like they just saw like the greatest. I don't know. That's a very exaggerated thing, but that's just an example. ESFPs might have trouble sitting still. I don't know. I can see that as something. That's just a complete guess, but it might even be true. I don't know. Here's something ESFPs might want to note. I'll actually find the exact wording, so I can explain it to you from the wording. CelebrityTypes.com actually has, on the bottom, they have the functions of each type, and a little box of information, tidbit information for each type. And I always found the last bullet very useful, because it tells you, which function you repress and what it causes or may cause without you maybe even noticing, and building off of that repressed function, or building the repressed function, is actually beneficial to you as a type. So what you want to do, if you don't know which function is your fourth one down, so which one you repress, you want to find out which one that is and want to build it as best as you can. Find out whatever it is. If it's SE, do more physical activities. If it's TE, start being more factual and start being more TE like, thinking extroverted. If it's TI, read books. Reading books helps with TI. Things like of that nature. If it's FE, if you repress FE, you would want to participate more in social environments to help you stimulate your feeling extroverted. So things like that. Whatever function you repress, you want to, put it into action, so you use it more, and with practice comes perfection and whatever, build off of your character and all that good stuff. But ESFPs repress their introverted intuition function, meaning they sometimes experience paranoid thoughts which they are convinced are true. What this means is, it's saying that ESFPs repress their NI, which is thinking introverted. What the hell did I just say? Sorry, it's NI, which is introverted intuition. I apologize. They repress their NI, which means that what it's saying is they may experience paranoid thoughts that they're sure are true. Because when you repress your NI, you jump to conclusions, or you jump to conclusions in your thoughts, in your head, when you're thinking about things, before you actually know all of the facts. So You might jump to one conclusion and later find out that you were very wrong about that person or subject or thing, and you may have accidentally acted out of place and out of character and said something you didn't mean because you weren't sure of the actual situation, but you had assumed. So I don't want to say for ESFPs, I don't want to say don't listen to your gut. Just be willing to accept outer information more to really help you gather the situation to know what's the best plan of action for it, and don't just assume whatever you think is true. Really find out before you jump out there and, hey, what is this all about? That sort of thing. Okay, so that's ESFPs. Like I said, guys, in the previous videos, if I skipped anything about any type, or if I didn't mention it enough for you, just let me know, and I'll go back and talk about it more after this little mini-series is done, because I actually have some videos I would like to get to other than this. I just really want to finish this, you know what I mean, to get on to the other stuff. Okay. Next, we have ESTP. ESTPs are... ESTPs also have SE as their dominant function, so they also like to engage in physically stimulating environments and things of that nature. Very attuned to the five senses. So they know, an ESTP will notice if something about you or about your environment or about your anything really, they'll notice. So they'll come back after a week and be like, I noticed that you moved your lamp onto the other side of the room. And it's just stuff like that. They're very attuned to the environment, so they notice these things usually, unless they don't give a shit about what the environment is. But sorry for cursing, I'm trying to knock that down a bit. Unless they don't care about the surrounding they're in, if they're not paying attention to it. But either way, they'll usually be the first to notice certain things. The first in the room to notice certain things that other people probably didn't notice, that could have been right in front of them, but not really for other types. But for ESTPs, it was right in front of them. ESTPs can be very driven once they have a plan of action or a goal to work towards. Because an ESTP, once he has found what he wants to do, is in a state of mind like, let's get shit done right now. That's pretty much like, let's do this. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And let's do it. But an ESTP with a lack of direction, I guess, in what he wants to do or what he's working towards, not so much. Will kind of just like, now what do I do? That sort of thing. What's next? Some ESTPs you might know: Robin Thicke, Amy Winehouse, Mila Kunis, Ryan Seacrest, Ben Affleck, Kevin Spacey, Jack Nicholson, Alfred Hitchcock, Angelina Jolie, Meryl Streep, Madonna. Those are some ESTPs you might know. An ESTP also represses NI, as well as an ESFP. Because if sensing extroverted is your first in the function stack, then NI would have to be your fourth. It works that way. They repress their introverted intuition function, meaning they overestimate the scope of their proposed solutions. So the reason this is different than an ESFP is obviously because of the other functions and how they work. Because the other functions working with SE will determine what a person or character uses their SE towards. So an ESFP who also has SE Dom will use their SE for different purposes maybe than an ESTP because of the other functions and how they work with SE, if you understand what I'm saying. So ESTPs overestimate the scope of their proposed solutions. So this is true because I know a couple of ESTPs, and they always, before we get into something, let's say we have an idea or plan to hatch, an ESTP will be very, if they can be very enthusiastic about it, like, yeah, let's do it, yes, let's do it now. Alright, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. So they'll be very enthusiastic, and they'll be saying, yes, if we do this right by this time next month or by next year, we're going to have this result. And they can just as well, they can just as easily get those results. And be it because of lack of support or planning, they probably might be overestimating what will actually happen after having tried said goal. Okay, so ESTPs, okay, I didn't do this with all the other types, but I kind of regret it because I have something pretty much to say about each type and what I think their functions are built for. I can get to this with the other types. Actually, I have INTP, which is good because I have a good one to say about them. But ESTPs, in my opinion, are great salesmen. ESTPs are made for being salesmen. That is what I think, for me, it's just that whole thing. All their functions to me just seem like the perfect salesman. And you'll find an ESTP will probably be very persuading because they can be direct, they can be informative with their TI, and they can use their FE to really, really feel you out and feel the situation out and know when to do certain things. They'll know when to give you the kicker or the selling point, because they'll feel you out and know when they're about to reel you in. That is what I think of an ESTP and what they would be probably naturally good at. Okay, so now the INTP. I might as well get to him or her, obviously. The type, sorry. I was thinking of a certain INTP when I said that. I have a couple of friends that are INTPs, and I really enjoy their company very much. They are very easygoing, and they're engaging. They always have something to question or talk about, which I thoroughly enjoy. Because an INTP has they like an influx of information coming in because they sort through this constantly as it comes. Mental organization. They can struggle with this, but they try to mentally place things that belong in certain categories in their heads, I would imagine. So certain types of information they get they would relate them and log them next to other types of information, something of that sort. So they're TI dominant. So that is a thinking introverted, and that is a very it's a very questioning, self-based logic. INTPs are the most logical of all the types, and TI questions things as it comes and verifies whether it is true or not and whether it makes sense. And INTPs theorize their ideas sometimes outwardly because they have NE in their second function. And I can relate to this. They sometimes share ideas that are not complete. They're unfinished ideas or thoughts, and they sometimes share them. And then when people start to ask questions, oh yeah, but what about, that doesn't work because of this. And this might be because they just haven't finished processing the information, and they might have been spitballing it back and forth with you to try to maybe even clarify their own thought on the subject. So a lot of people might get frustrated that INTPs start a lot of things and they do them for a little bit, but they don't finish them a lot of the time. That's because they have so many different ideas going on that they move on to the next one once they've figured out enough about it to feel as if they're about to master it. An INTP will do something so much until the point where they feel they've mastered it, and then they drop it, and then they move on to the next thing and do that. I also have a tendency to do this, but with usually different ways of going about it, or different ways of, or even different hobbies just in general, you'll notice. What I think INTPs are built for is, okay, so ESTPs are the ultimate salesman. ENTPs, I haven't discussed them yet, but ENTPs, in my personal opinion, are the ultimate debaters. They are meant for debating. The way their functions work is the workings of an ultimate negotiator / debater and arguer. But INTPs, in my opinion, are the supercomputer of all the types. They process information, I think, better than any other type. At least mentally demanding information. And I'll explain why. TI as their first function. TI is it goes in deep into things and it learns every little thing about them, so it can be logically precise about everything they say about it. So they will take, or when they buy a new item, or let's say they buy a monitor, they'll learn every detail about the monitor to make sure that when they explain it to other people or when they talk about it, that it is as accurate as can be by their own system. But like I said, at times they don't finish gathering all the information, so they might say something that isn't necessarily true, or not true, but very vague and incomplete. A good thing for an INTP would be to mention this before they explain it, would be to, I'm not too sure on this, but I think, and then mention what you're going to say. And this will cause less confusion for the other person when they find out you were either wrong or whatever, you know what I mean. Okay, so INTPs, the supercomputer, in my opinion. TI, which is going in deep, it'll go in deep and make sure it'll find everything out about a certain thing. And then NE sees the various possibilities, so they're going in deep and finding out about everything on various possibilities because of their NE. Their SI learns from past experiences and learns through repetition and doing something over and over and learning where they messed up and where to improve. So now they have TI, NE, SI, and then FE is their fourth function. And FE is, it works for the way INTPs explain it. They have that FE, so they have an interesting way of explaining it, usually a very enthusiastic way. INTPs are your philosophers, your storytellers, your dreamy professors or whatever. That's on one of the websites. Okay, so what INTPs do that they can improve on, the function they repress is feeling extroverted. So I'll read this sentence off. INTPs repress their extroverted feeling function, meaning they may have difficulty emoting and figuring out what others need from them emotionally. So because they repress their FE, they don't sometimes understand what to do when someone is doing something. This is a very broad example because a lot of types have a problem with this, but when someone is crying, an INTP in front of them, to them even, an INTP will not understand how to react emotionally. If they are looking for emotional support, your best bet would probably be, no offense, not to go to an INTP for emotional support, because they are very, it's not that they're not emotional, don't confuse this, but they just sometimes don't know how to process this FE information, so they don't know what to do with it. I can agree with this a lot, and I think a lot of INFPs might be able to as well, because we have FI, our feeling is very introverted and not very apparent to the public or whatever, so we process our feelings very internally. Even just talking about them outwardly kind of makes me uncomfortable, but I guess that's something to work with. But anyways, INTPs, what you would like, or what I would recommend you do to help to fix this is try to be more, put yourself in more social interactions, because sometimes INTPs have a habit of just getting away from emotional interaction altogether. So you might want to try putting yourself out there, even with new people, which is so hard, but just try being more friendly next time you go to a store or something, like a cashier. Just be more expressive and more friendly, and just really try that out. And in certain situations like that, try to be more emotionally supportive little by little. Don't try to just out of nowhere try to console someone and try to fix them. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying to work yourself into it, so next time you find someone crying in front of you, you don't just sit there like, I don't know, I'm sorry, that whole thing. But anyways, guys, this video dragged on a little bit too much, as always. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. I appreciate it very much. And if you found something interesting or had a question about something, feel free to comment, and I will most likely respond. And, alright, so I'll see you guys later. Peace on the streets. So we'll have the next 3 types. I should have it up within the week. Okay, bye-bye.